Okay, so this is going to be the session after haltering. I've kind of given up on naming sessions, or numbering sessions. This is going to be a little bit about grooming and leading at the end. So that's kind of what the focus is. As you can see, I'm going to go ahead and clean up. This is where kind of personal space is kind of an interesting topic with her, because I'm nervous about her back end, especially because I just don't know what she's going to do. Even at this point where I feel like we have good communication, we don't have perfect communication, right? She's still a horse. She can still get scared because there's going to be scary things that happen around her that I haven't prepared her for. So this kind of me getting in her bubble, touching her accidentally and stuff, that becomes a little bit of an issue. An issue in the sense of I need to consciously train around it, or decide how I'm going to approach it, where I'm going to be in her space because I have to move around her. Does she need to move away? What if she can't, kind of thing. I don't want to trap her. We do work on gait etiquette later on and stuff like that, because she doesn't rush the gait, but she just goes out. So that does become a thing that I'm okay, I do have to think about how I want to train that and everything. But yeah, you can see how she was pretty interested in what I was doing, but then she kind of just, whatever. She's not too concerned a lot of the time with what I'm doing at this point. I feel like we've had good communication and kind of just good back and forth. I feel like she's pretty engaged with me and what I'm doing. Obviously, there's a food reward to it, but I'm pretty happy with how engaged and excited she is. Again, so this is a personal space. What do I need to do? Spoiler alert, I kind of ignored the issue for a while because look, I'm don't kick me. I'm she's not going to, but also I don't know what she means when she does that, right? What does she want me to do? Is she just pushing me away? Is she doing something? Again, I'm not a professional, I'm not a trainer. This is me putting the halter up somewhere because it's nice and clean. But you can see she follows me, and this is also nice. You can kind of see her expression in the sense of she wasn't immediately mugging me for food, because we're working on this kind of calm default, don't mug me thing. So that I think is one really important skill to learn very on in positive reinforcement, is when the horse is looking away from you. It's really dramatic at the beginning because it's extreme, turned away from you, you give them a treat because you want to reward that behavior. You don't want to reward them for being in your space or for, mugging you, as the sense of why people think the treats can be bad. And at the beginning, it's a very extreme kind of thing because you shape it down to be not as extreme. But it's really funny in the beginning because it's just they're I'm not looking, give me the treat, kind of thing. And it's just, a lot of horses do it. Sometimes it's really cute in my opinion, because they're I'm being very good, I'm not looking. And you're good job. They're yes. So this session is really about me being in her bubble at various spaces and her not following me. So we know she has a following, I don't want to say problem, tendency, I guess we should say. So when I go towards her back hip, I don't want her to follow me. I want her to stand there nicely, be cool. So that's what this is really working on. It's going to be a lot of back and forth, as with any kind of learning behavior, but it's doing this communication so we can establish our reward system, how we're communicating, and where our comfort level is. So again, I'm learning about her. What is she okay with? What is she not okay with? This is me looking at the giant knot in her mane going, what am I going to do about that? At one point I was I'm just going to cut it. But then I was it's so long. All right. So since we've got the kind of thought where we're going, I'm just going to speed up so you can see there's a lot of adjustment happening. It's a lot of back and forth. Again, we want to get to 3 consecutive smooth, successful loops is really what our goal will be for a lot of things. And just also keeping under threshold, consistency, reward as much as I can. I need to get, this is really me really delving into positive reinforcement in the sense of I'm doing this the way it should be. I'm doing it correctly. And we're just going to keep doing it as much as I can from my unprofessional stance. I am going to slow down this moment like super slow so you can see kind of what happens, because I don't remember this happening, but she takes a step and then she ends up slipping, and it freaks her out. It freaks me out, but it's just an accident. And I think this is important for you guys to see, because accidents happen. It's just the reality, and she obviously didn't mean any malicious intent, and you know how nervous I am about her back end anyway. So this is good for me and her to just be like, okay, something scary happened, but one, I'm not rewarding that behavior, because I didn't know at the time if it was like a negative behavior or not. So I'm like, okay, we'll just go ahead and keep going, go back to where we're at and stuff like that, where it's kind of this fine line, I feel like, between ignoring something bad that happens and then also like approaching it. So these kind of things, okay, so one way that people desensitize is, the joke is, you found something scary, now you wear it. So like, for instance, a tarp, the horse finds it scary, and then you just kind of like shake it, and they realize it's not scary, in the sense of, there's a lot of training methods. I'm not going to go into them, but basically, you put the tarp on them, because now they see, quote, it's not scary anymore. So I don't personally like that, because I feel like, as I've learned and found my philosophy on horsemanship, that it creates a learned helplessness behavior. And basically, you're telling the horse, you are scared, but you can do nothing about it. You have to sit here and be scared. And they shut down. From my perspective, again, I'm not a professional, I'm not a trainer. There's many different ways to train a horse. So I don't necessarily want to do this when I'm using positive reinforcement, right? Because I don't like that. But at the same time, I want to be like, it's okay. There's nothing to freak out about. Like, accidents happen, but we're going to do the same thing again, because I want to show you that it's not scary. So I think there is a fine line, and maybe I'm just like being completely ignorant and like hypocritical here by saying, oh, I hate that, but I do it. I don't know, but I'm not a professional, not a trainer, but I do like to repeat something that maybe they found scary, to show them that it's not scary. Obviously, I'm using a reward base to reward the reaction that I want and everything. Okay, enough about my opinions when I'm not a professional. Have I told you I'm not a professional? So you've seen, if you've been watching while I've been talking, but I'm shaping the behavior, I'm like, we're all over the place, but like, you're just going to stay in this neutral calm position, and we're grooming. Do you see how like, quote, easy it is to groom? Like, this is really exciting. Like, she is totally cool with it. I mean, not like, oh, do it again, but like, she's not freaked out. I'm in her space. I'm moving around her space. I'm doing various things to her, changing my tools up, kind of grooming new spots too. So you want to get to a new spot. She has mats underneath her belly and kind of like in her elbow armpit area. So there's like, I need to get those out because they hurt, obviously. But that's kind of scary. At the same time, I don't want to hurt her. I don't want her to react, but she's doing really well. I think the positive reinforcement has been awesome, because she just is so chill about it. She's like, this is fine. I can get rewarded. I'm brushing her mane. Crazy. This is me trying to get the knot. I'm like trying to figure out what I want to do about this knot. But she's able to just be calm. Like, it's not the smoothest operation. Obviously, there's a lot of wiggling and a lot of like a little bit of hesitation back and forth. But at the same time, I don't feel like we're at any threshold level. I feel like we're able to just be chill, calm, hang out, and kind of work towards the goal. So paw, we know she gets a little bit frustrated with pawing. So that's also an indication. I should have taken that as an indication to do something else. I don't think she likes standing still for a very long time. This like clip is about like 30 minutes. But at the same time, it's like she needs to learn to stand still, but it's totally fine. She's communicating something that I'm, reaching a frustration level. And obviously we have gone past it because we're working on it. Again, the mane, it was so bad. This is me adding baby oil to it. I know some people recommend WD-40 for knots, but that sounds so weird to me. So I use baby oil to kind of get some knots out. So jackpot time, I'm ending the session because my sister has come back. And then here are some clips that she took later where I have obviously haltered, and now we're going to try to lead. This is not pretty. I don't know why I don't have like a real video, but it's not pretty because I'm doing it kind of wrong, but you can kind of hear her. So I'm going to do some audio on and off, but the leading is going really well, but she's a follower, so it's okay. I should reward more and release my like pressure because I'm pulling a couple times and I don't release like I should. One, I want her to learn to follow me. At the same time, we have to build up to that, right? I'm just like putting the cart before the horse here, saying like, you should be a good leader, but I'm really happy with how she's at. She leads really well. She's led really well off the bat. I do have to shape her behavior later because she kind of starts leading where I'm at her shoulder, and that creates issues, obviously, but that's just shaping behavior. I don't reward as frequently. I should be rewarding. But I've realized here that the pan is an issue. I can't take the pan around with me. I can't hand feed her because we haven't gotten to that point. So that's a limitation with the pan. So my next step is to really hand feed so we can learn together. But you can kind of see where this is not pretty, where I'm pulling, she's following nicely. She's being very, very forgiving about this whole thing because I'm not training consistently like I had beforehand. Like we had this whole interaction, whole 40 minutes where I'm reward, and we were perfect. And then I do something else and I'm like, oh, I'm not going to reward you. So be consistent with your training, but look at us go. Isn't she so cute?